Under the leadership of first-year head coach here at UH, Willie Fritz. A returnable kick to start things off. That's Makai Muse. Muse gets out to the 24-yard line, and that's where we will start things off for this Houston offense. They played a couple of quarterbacks this year. Zion Chris will be the starter tonight. The sophomore from Baton Rouge, third-year college football player, completing 68% of his passes. Barrett, a true dual-threat quarterback. He can hurt you with his feet.
Yeah, but, you know, they've played so many quarterbacks, trying to get a rhythm, trying to get a flow to the offense. Hopefully he comes out now and shows, you know, his dual threat will be definitely in effect right now, especially with this defensive line.
Pistol formation to start things off. Jamari and Burnett on the carry straight ahead. What a good start to this game on the ground for the Houston Cougars as Burnett rumbles for a first down before being brought down by Teo Johnson.
You know, that's an easy just inside zone play, hat on the hat, press back, and he just hit the hole.
13-yard gain on first down. Now Chris taking a shot deep down the far sideline. Some pushing and shoving. It was intended for Joseph Manjack IV. No flag on the play. Elijah Davis in coverage.
Yeah, physical play on the outside. This game right here is going to show who's going to come out with the mentality to go ahead and dictate will in this game. Both teams need a win in the worst way, and it's going to be a physical game because of it.
Houston has scored a touchdown on their opening possession only once so far this season. They go back to the ground. Burnett again with a short gain on second down. Going to bring up third and long for this Cougars offense. Tavita Fotu, defensive tackle, making the stop.
You know, they want to run the ball. They come out in 21 personnel. That's 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and run the ball. They went for a shot play on second down. Now they're caught behind at third and long.
Houston only 29% on third down this season. You flip it around, Utah's defense giving up only 26% conversions on third down. Pressure coming. Chris steps up, trying to make a play with his feet. Gets out across the 40, but well short of the first down. Logan Fano on the tackle.
You can tell how this defense is reacting. They're not really rushing the passer, getting upfield. They're trying to make sure they keep him inside the cup, making sure that he doesn't get those rushing lanes that he can use with his speed, trying to get out and make a play.
So punt time here for Liam Doherty and Houston. Dorian Singer is the return man for Utah. It's just inside his own 20-yard line. Coming toward the sideline, it's going to go out of bounds. Not a great punt there by Doherty. And now we will bring out the Utah offense led by freshman quarterback Isaac Wilson.
I tell you what, Rich, I'm anxious to see what offensive coordinator Bajakian is going to do with his young, it's a freshman quarterback going out, and he must start early, get him in a rhythm, maybe some short passes, just to get him on the same page on the offensive side of the ball.
Wilson, a local star out of Corner Canyon and Draper, a suburb of Salt Lake City. Behind him, Makai Bernard, who has been the brightest of spots on this offense for the Utes this year. And it's Bernard on the ground to start things out. Short gain on first down for Bernard. Isaac Wilson. He is the first freshman Utah quarterback that has led his team to a top 25 win in school history. Did that against Oklahoma State, who at the time was number 14 in the country. But since that win against Oklahoma State, 3 straight losses for the Utes to Arizona, Arizona State on the road, and last week a disappointing loss to TCU, 13-7. Pressure coming, quick pass complete to the outside. That's Brant Keithy, the tight end. Brant Keithy with open field, trying to run away from everybody. Keithy to the 10, Keithy to the end zone. Touchdown, Utah, 71 yards. Brant Keithy, the super senior, He's been around a while, has battled injuries in his career, had 3 touchdown receptions on opening night. Only 1 since, but that's a big one to start this game.
Huge play. Why not go to him? And you just see how Wilson was able to throw the ball from a, kind of a weird throwing motion. But, hey, that's what these new quarterbacks do. They're able to throw the ball from a different position, and he's definitely able to hit him on that speed screen. And after that, Keefe takes over, shows a little speed.
A Utah offense that has struggled, especially early in games, with a big play. 71 yards to the house. Brant Keefe back in his home state of Texas. The Katy native gets into the end zone. Having to punt. Kai Muse standing back at the goal line. This one will sail over his head to the back line of the end zone. Let's go back to the touchdown play.
I love this play. It's nothing but a tunnel screen to Keefe on the play. Keefe, the tight end on the outside, he steps back and goes to the field. But this is what makes the play. These big, ugly guys, the offensive line, getting out in the tunnel screen. They ended up to go out and block all these guys on the outside. So because they were able to block them, they were able to get up the field, and Keefe just took up with athletic talent after that, showing a little speed.
Ran away from everybody. 71 yards to the house and a touchdown. And so now the Houston offense back on the field with Zeon Chris. He wants to throw on first down, pass incomplete, and a flag comes in. Smith Snowden was in coverage that time, trying to get a quick slant, and too much contact early.
Yeah, he tried to reach around him, and you can't do that. You got to reach. If you're going to reach, you got to make sure you keep your hand from the ground and then try to play for your front side hand.
Holding, defense, 10-yard penalty. Penalty results in a first down.
They do have some weapons on the outside. You know, it's just about getting these guys in great positions on the opposite side of the ball to take advantage of it. But they have to establish the run first before they start passing.
Stacey Sneed is the running back in the backfield. Had movement early. It was interesting. The cornerback on the far side of the field, Cameron Calhoun, jumped across the line, nearly made contact.
It looked like he did make contact.
Full start. Offense, number 8. 5-yard penalty, first down.
But it was the opposite side of the field, so you had Cameron Calhoun on the opposite side. The Utah sideline jumped, but Devin Williams moved at the near side, at the bottom of the formation.
It almost looked simultaneous.
Zeon Chris going with that clap count. Gives to Sneed. He's got some room to the outside. Gets across the 35. Gets 6 of those yards back. Now Zamiah Vaughn on the tackle.
Kevin Barbe is trying to get a little misdirection in this offense. They run a counter trade to the left side with pulling the backside guard and tackle, and then flip it to the back going the opposite way, trying to get those linebackers to flow one way and get the running back going the other way.
Officially a gain of 7 on the carry, bringing up 2nd and 8 for this Houston offense. That's Malik Carr, the big tight end, going in motion across the formation. Chris trying to get away from trouble. Needs eyes in the back of his head. Now he finds an opening. Zeon Chris making a play with his feet. Gets across the 45 for a first down. Ultimately brought down by Alakai Gilman.
Watch on this play. The defensive line, they got to make sure they couple. We call it a mush rush. And they ran a stunt, and he's able to go and show his athletic talent and evade those rushers. It's going to be hard for them to think that they can go out and rush him the conventional way because he's so athletic. You kind of mush rush him, push him up the field, and keep him inside that cup.
Zeon Chris was at University of Louisiana in Lafayette for a couple of seasons. Willie Fritz, the head coach at Houston, said we recruited him when we were at Tulane but couldn't get him. Baton Rouge native. And now Chris on the quarterback power. Trying to get to the outside to pick up a little bit more. Takes a big shot at the end there from Cameron Calhoun.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't even try to fake it. Just go out and just run physical, in-your-face football. A hat on the hat, power, and let him use his athletic talent and try to go and make a play. Now you have the defense aware that you will run it.
Houston's going to use 4 different running backs tonight. We've seen 3 of them as Rayshawn Sanford is in the backfield. They fake it to Sanford, and nowhere to go that time for Chris. Rene Reed and Alakai Gilman combine on the tackle for a loss of a yard and a 3rd down play here for the Cougars.
That's called disciplined football up front. Instead of giving them rush lanes, they stay, play fundamental football, stay in their gap, and they were able to make the play because of it.
Quick throw to Chris. They set up the screen to the outside, trying to get a run after the catch. Not enough for a first down. Devin Williams on the catch. That's his 9th catch of the season. Brings up 4th down and punting time once again for this Houston Cougars offense. 2 drives and 2 punts.
Man-to-man on the outside. If you can block the ball carrier's man, it's a play. But on that play, defense played great and was able to make the play.
Dorian Singer makes the fair catch at the 20-yard line. And that's where Utah will start its 2nd offensive possession. Homecoming evolving a little bit in that time with Dirk Cutter and Todd Monken at Tampa Bay. He had been a spread, fast-paced philosophy guy and said, I kind of learned to understand the benefit of slowing it down, controlling the game. And this Utah offense throughout the course of the season, it's one of the areas that they've done well. They control the clock in terms of time of possession.
Yeah, and he understands that, with the guys you have on the field, that's where you have to customize your offense to. And sometimes, going fast isn't necessarily what you need to do. But from what we're seeing right now, there is a little bit of a difference in the play call.
Bernard is the tailback. Keithy, who's got the touchdown, lined up tight there at the bottom of the formation. It's Bernard on the ground with a run out across the 30 for a first down. Michael Batten on the tackle, the Will linebacker. Mike Bajakian said it's been a whirlwind week. Something new at every turn, but our guys are bowing up a little bit. They've had good energy. There was a good relationship between Andy Ludwig and the offensive guys, especially quarterback Isaac Wilson, who said Andy Ludwig was a big part of the reason he chose to come to Utah.
Absolutely.
Fresh set of downs for the Utes. Wilson to the air. That's Dorian Singer on the catch out across the 45 for another first down. See some confidence early in this ball game from Isaac Wilson, who's 3 for 3 to start the night.
Yeah, and I think it's more so he's giving them pass plays that are kind of simple. You know, that getting the ball out to the corner like that, that's a great throw, and a great catch by the receiver. But simplicity, you know, we call it the KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And if you go out there, short passes, gain some confidence, I think he'll start becoming a better player just for that alone.
15-yard gain there on the 34th catch of the season for Dorian Singer. Back to Mekhi Bernard on the ground, trying to pick his way to the outside. And tough running there for 3 yards on first down.
You know, this offensive line has some holes in it right now. This is not necessarily the starting offensive line that started out the year, but it looks like they're a little more athletic, and they're running inside zone, outside zone, and letting the running back one-step cut, get up the field. You know, a 4-yard running play is great, especially on first down, because now you're not behind the sticks going from 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10.
Jalen Glover into the game at running back for the first time tonight, the junior from Lakeland, Florida. The handoff is to Glover. He picks up a couple. It's going to bring up a 3rd down. Keith Cooper Jr. on the tackle. He is one of the guys that came over from Tulane with Willie Fritz when he got this head coaching job at the University of Houston.
Yeah, I want to see what direction they're going to go to. They're going to go back with Keithy. They're going to go with a run personnel package, 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, or stay the conventional 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and push the ball down the field.
Houston crowd trying to come to life on 3rd down. Wilson with time. Trying to make a play with his feet. He's knocked off the mark short of the first down. They'll spot him at the 47. Anthony Holmes with the tackle.
Great matchup zone by this Cougar defense. Nobody was open. They didn't give him an opportunity to get a distinct read on where the ball should go. So he pulled it down. I thought he should have pulled it down a little earlier and tried to make a play because the coverage was pretty good by this Cougar defense.
Mekhi Muse back to return this punt from Jack Boomeister. Signals for the fair catch, goes into the end zone for a touchback, and we'll take a timeout. 7-0, Utah in front of Houston. Inside 5 minutes to play the first quarter. Injured lineman on the punt, Zeraway Williams. being helped off the field. He is the backup left tackle, and it could be significant tonight, Barrett, because they're down a couple of guys on the offensive line, primarily Michael Mokafisi, who had 33 career starts, got hurt last week.
Yeah, you got to play within the framework of your body. Football is all about angles, and he got outside those angles, and that's how you get hurt.
Hey, took a little bit of a shot on the knee, had to be helped off the field. Keep an eye on that. Houston looking for its first points of the night offensively. That's incomplete. It was intended for Jaden York, the tight end, on a quick pass. Couldn't hold on.
I'll tell you what, Coach Scally has been very, very aggressive in his play calling. He brought Mike Sam Blitz right up the middle, and penetration kills all run plays, and able to get up the field, and they couldn't complete the pass because they were right there to make the play as soon as the ball was out the quarterback's hands. So, you know, if he keeps calling this aggressive style, it's going to be tough for this Houston offense to get anything going.
That's Morgan Scally, you see, who is the head coach in waiting at Utah. No timetable for when Kyle Whittingham decides to hang it up in his 20th season in Salt Lake City. Absolutely nothing there. Connor O'Toole leading the way on the tackle.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, he leads the attack also. It's just bad blocking, miscommunication up front. You can't let guys go, especially in the middle of your defense, with your quarterback sitting back there on a run play for the quarterback.
Third and long for this Houston offense. Houston 0 for 2 on third down so far tonight. Zion Chris sets up the screen. He dumps it off to Snead, and Snead has nowhere to go. Really good pursuit. Jonathan Hall was there, so was Elijah Davis.
This was actually the perfect play for the defense they call. We call this a bear front when you cover the center and both guards with defensive tackles. Get those guys going up the field, and they blitz the Mike linebacker. But then they turn around. They couldn't get the play off to the running back in enough time, and they stopped the play on there just because they just didn't have enough on the outside blocking.
2 return men in the game this time for Utah. They had both Dorian Singer and Money Parks there, but not a great punt that time from Liam Doherty. Utah will start years ago in the Rose Bowl, had the injury where he basically tore every single ligament in his knee. Ended up missing all of last season. Guy Bernard on the ground on first down. You know, Barrett, you go back to the offseason. Isaac Wilson was on campus for spring football.
Yes.
Kyle Whittingham told us there's no shot he'd be the backup and now ultimately the starter if he hadn't been there early. And as they worked their way through fall camp, there was a point where the light bulb kind of went on and he wasn't just deer in the headlights anymore.
You know, and it's not just about X and O's. It's about learning to be a college football player, and that's the biggest thing. Isaac started learning how to study his playbook, study film, and those are the things that really set him apart in gaining the second-team quarterback and now a starter.
He was Mr. Football in the state of Utah. Hit as his arm comes forward. He recovers it, an incomplete pass or a fumble. We did not get the signal for incomplete pass. Brandon Mack was the one that knocked it free. Take another look.
Sometimes you want the ball to bounce your way. Well, he did push it forward a little bit.
So ruled a fumble, and no indication that this one is going to be reviewed, at least not yet. So third and long coming for the Utes.
What do you say we look at Keefe this time?
Ed Keefe with a touchdown catch tonight. Isaac Wilson stands in the pocket. It starts to close around him. He gets hit, fumbles. That's recovered by Keith Cooper Jr. Cooper wrestled down at the 30-yard line. It was knocked loose by Latravian McCutcheon.
Great play, great pass rush. Able to go out and make a play, influence the pass, knock it in the air, interception. Great play on this. And he was going to go to Keefe on the play. He's going towards, he's about to throw it to him, change direction, comes back, hits Wilson. And then after that, you know, you just keep hustling. That's a hustle play. That's you running to the ball and being able to finish. That hustle right there allowed him to go out there and make that interception and now change the fate of this Houston team. Now offense, maybe this gives them a leg up. Maybe this helps them get things going in the right direction.
Return of about 20 yards for Keith Cooper. And now up the gut. Chunk play run there for Jamarian Burnett. And he's got it into the red zone.
Big back too, 6'3", 210 pounds.
Freshman from Andalusia, Alabama, down in the southern part of the state of Alabama. He missed 4 games with an injury his senior season, still had 9 touchdowns and 650 yards on the ground. They go back to Burnett, tries to pick his way, and there's not a lot there as a flag comes in as well.
They really do like his size, you know, and like I said, 6'1", 220 pounds, and he's a downhill runner.
Personal foul. Illegal hit to the face. Defense. Number 99. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Luke Richmond is our referee tonight.
You know, on this play, look at 99, big guy on this play. This young man right here, hands to the face.
Tavita Fotu called for the penalty there. You see it?
Presses his face right back.
You've been there in the trenches. That's no fun for an offensive lineman. Zion Chris trying to get to the outside. He's run out of bounds at the 7.
It feels like they're going to yank your neck off and decapitate your head, but, you know, you're still trying to fight on the play. But, you know, I mean, it happens sometimes. Your hands may slip a little bit. I may have held a couple of times, you know, but it was all by accident, of course. Rich, it was all by accident. I didn't mean to hold on the play.
Rayshawn Sanford in the game now here on 2nd and goal. They give it to Sanford. He gets inside the 5, and he's cut down at the 1-yard line, just short of the goal line.
Change of pace back. What you do, you run a counter, and then you turn around, let your change of pace back. Your speed guy get in there and get lost in between all those trees of offensive linemen and defensive linemen. It's hard to see what you're trying to tackle when you can't see them. So, you know, this is exactly what they need. This is great play calling.
Houston is 1 yard away from tying this ball game, but we're going to flip to the other end of the field. Inside the 20-yard line for this offense. Trying to buck that trend here. Zion Chris, hands off, and they're not going to get it. Extra push. What have you got? Stop short of the goal line. It's marked just short of the goal line. Jamarian Burnett trying to shove his way in and get some help from the offensive line.
So you see that defensive line. They're playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage on that play.
4th down play. Snap is fumbled. Chris picks it up, reaching out. Did he get there? No. And so the defense does come up and make a big stop for Utah. Houston cannot get points.
You know, sometimes you have to slow down and just realize the status of what's going on. At this point, he did not slow down. You know, the ball's been kicked out, and at this point, he should have just slowed the team down. You know, I know we wanted to get up there and try to jump the snap, but you can't do that. You know, slow down a little bit.
Jonathan Hall and Alakai Gilman were there to make sure when he actually picked the ball up and tried to get to the outside, couldn't get into the end zone. Samaya Vaughn was there as well.
And this should have been great for Chris because he's a dual athlete. He can do a lot of stuff, a lot of different things in the offense that could take advantage of how athletic he is in these type of situations.
But more importantly, the red zone troubles continue for Houston, who now in 14 red zone tries this year have only 4 touchdowns. Utah backed up as far as you can be backed up, and they go play action. Wilson hurt as he got rid of that one and goes hard to the ground on the play.
line of scrimmage. It'll be second down.
There was no intentional grounding as Isaac Wilson gets up holding his wrist and is going to head to the sideline.
I mean, great pass rush move. They blitz linebacker right up the middle. And, you know, if it wasn't for Bentley being there, it might have been a loss of down and everything on the play.
Michael Batten on the pressure there. Wilson was dangerously close to stepping on the back line of the end zone. And so now Brandon Rose comes into the game. Brandon Rose, the 6'2", 212-pound sophomore from Temecula, California, played at Marietta Valley. He was in a battle for that backup spot in camp before Isaac Wilson separated. They give it to Mekhi Bernard, and there is not much there. Latrell McCutcheon on the tackle. We've talked a lot about the Utah defense tonight. The shining star for Houston has been their defense this season as well.
Yeah, their front four are pretty good also. Guys that like to get up the field and make plays. You know, Keith Cooper, Carlos Allen. All these guys play very, very explosive up front. They're really good athletes. They like to play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage.
So Brandon Rose is in the game at quarterback. Mekhi Bernard is the back. Utah 0 for 2 on third down. This throw tipped away in coverage. That time it was A.J. Halsey that got his hands on it. A 3-and-out for Utah from deep in their own territory, and the punt team comes out.
You know, the big play, it all stems from the interception. This Houston Cougar team is starting to change and get a little life. They should have scored on that last play, but at the end of the day, they are playing at a high level right now, and it's up to Utah to stop it.
Mekhi Muse standing at the Utah 48-yard line. Punt is away from Boomeister, but it's a short one. Mekhi Muse picks it up going forward. What great field position Houston has to start this possession.
I'll tell you what, Rich, Mekhi Muse, I watched him during, warm-ups in the beginning of the game, and he was going through it with his coach on when he should go up and make a play and when not to make a play, whether he should let it bounce and keep rolling or he should go up and take the ball and make a play. Evidently he listened, and the coach gave him some great advice on this play because it was definitely a great play just now.
It was a short punt that was fielded, only 36 yards, and it's returned to the 29-yard line. So can Houston take advantage of great starting field position here? And for Utah, the concern right now is the health of their quarterback, Isaac Wilson. Cam Rising is out for the remainder of the season. Wilson got up from that play immediately, holding his left wrist. They respot the ball. Instead of at the 29, they've got it at the 23. So they misspotted it after the punt return.
I think Houston's going to go for a big play, a shot play.
Jaden York, the tight end, in motion. They give it to Burnett. Drops short of the 20.
I'll tell you what, Burnett's kind of a little ram. He gets it going north and south. He doesn't deviate at all from that path that he goes in, and it's working for this offense. 3 or 4 yards a pop, it's pretty good. You do that 3 times in a row, you're close to a first down.
Burnett comes out of the game. Rayshawn Sanford back in. Chris on the keeper, and there is not much there. Tavita Fotu on the tackle. That big 6'5", 303-pound defensive tackle.
The defensive line are playing through the offensive line, pressing them back 1 or 2 yards back in the backfield. And it's really hard to run with that much penetration past the line of scrimmage. They're running a bare front, covering the center for the most part.
Play clock down to 5. Snead goes in motion. It's an empty backfield and a timeout taken by Houston. They were a little late with a substitution there with guys coming in. With a break on the field, we'll take one as well. Utah in front, leading at 7-0 over the Houston Cougars. Take this job, a shot play toward the end zone. That is a touchdown. Stephon Johnson back this week from injury, a 21-yard score. A flag comes in at the end as Houston is on the board. That'll make Willie Fritz happy.
Yeah, it was a play too early on the shot play. You know, since they can't play, they don't have success in the red zone. Why not take a shot play, go over the top, and score from outside the red zone?
Field is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 5. That foul will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff.
He was really excited after that touchdown catch. His second of the year. Stephon Johnson, the Houston native, transferred back from Oklahoma State. So the 15 yards will be enforced on the kickoff. Extra point coming here from Jack Martin. Martin splits the uprights, and we are tied at 7.
Yeah, you know, Chris noticed that he had one-on-one coverage on the outside, you know, in this man-to-man, so why not go to a big play? Almost like a wheel route, takes it out the fade route. Great throw by Chris. Great catch. Way to finish. The speed is there, the athleticism is there. They just need to use it more within the framework of their offense.
Well, the flag came in when he decided to turn and talk to the defensive back, gave him a little bump, so you got the unsportsmanlike conduct at the end.
Hey, he's been hurt for a little while. You know, comes back, wants to show out a little bit.
Big play there from Stephon Johnson off the throw from Zion Chris.
Great call by the offensive coordinator Barber. It was perfect because it was almost like a rub route on the outside to a fade, and he was the inside on that trips look. Great touch play by Chris.
Money Parks is the return man, deepest player for Utah with this kick coming from Jack Martin from his own 20-yard line. We return from the 6. Money Parks, he's got speed to burn. And a flag comes in from behind the play as Parks is knocked off his feet out at about the 28.
Might have been a little tackle on the play. Receiving team.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 14, 10-yard penalty, first down, Utah.
All right, that's going to move it back for Utah. Let's go downstairs, check in with Tori Petrie with some injury updates.
Yeah, guys, Isaac Wilson looks like he's headed back out there for this drive. Just watching things unfold down here on the sidelines, he looked like he really wanted to get back in on that last offensive drive for the Utes. It just ended a little bit too quickly. He immediately went to the bench and was talking with Coach Bajakian and the rest of his offense. So doesn't look like it's something that's going to keep him out of this game. He was really itching to get back in there. And then another update for you guys on offensive lineman Zeraway Williams. He went into the injury tent for quite some time, came out with ice on his knee, and he's on crutches now. Doesn't look like he's going to go back in for this one.
Thank you, Tori. Tough news for Zeraway Williams. That was on a punt play where he went off after being hit. Looked like knee-to-knee contact in the right knee. But good news for Isaac Wilson and the Utah offense that he comes back in and does so without any kind of wrap on that left wrist.
He's got a young body. True freshman.
Just like you, right? Young body. They go to the air. Pass is complete to Keithy. Good gain on first down.
You know, Rich, at this point, you know, Keithy has been the main target as far as, you know, pushing the ball down the field. But we have not heard from Money Parks this entire game. And I'm thinking to myself, this is where you get the big shot plays from guys like Money Parks, guys like, Dorian Singer, that can, run 9 routes down the field, go routes down the field, and make you defend him.
Money Parks had the big catch last week for Utah, the only touchdown of the game for the Utes in that loss at home to TCU. Movement up front, looked like that right guard spot.
False start, offense, number 59, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Falcon Kalmatule, who is starting in place of Michael Mokafisi.
Yeah, that's because the big guys up front for Houston. They're being very, very active right now, getting up the field, getting penetration. Sometimes you start thinking a little too much as offensive lineman, trying to get a little bit of an edge and get off the ball as fast as they can. 4th penalty of the game for Utah. Keithy in motion. The give is to Glover, trying to get to the outside, and he does. Jalen Glover out across the 40. He's wrestled down at the 44-yard line. Woo! Great pancake block on the outside right here. Bam! You love to see that. As an offensive lineman, you get up, you hype. He's ready to play now. 55's got his head in the game now. There he is.
You like that?
Flat back, pancakes.
Spencer Fauno making his 20th career start tonight. Jalen Glover stays in the game after that explosive gain of 22. Pressure coming from the outside. Pass is away, and it's caught by Dorian Singer, breaking a tackle. That's just good individual effort that time from Dorian Singer.
The want to will, but look, on the outside, 55, look. Boom, there, best defensive lineman. Flat back, put on his back. Give me a little bit of syrup on that, a little butter. He was a major reason why they were able to get to the outside for a 20-yard run.
Second down coming from midfield for this offense. An offensive line that probably played its worst game of the season last week against TCU. Isaac Wilson constantly had pressure in his face, could not get comfortable in the pocket. It's Glover again, fighting his way, should be enough for a first down. Michael Batten on the tackle. And the coaching staff told us this week that that offensive line group kind of took it personally, knew they did not play very well.
And that's exactly why they're going out and right now playing at a higher level than I've seen the past 2 games. They're coming off the ball flat back. They're stopping penetration. They're moving guys around. And, when you call plays that you can come off and hit a guy in the mouth as opposed to, sitting back and pass blocking, you want that. It gets you a little lubed up a little bit, a little lathered up.
Mekhi Bernard back in. Bernard looking for the cutback. He'll pick up a couple on first down. A.J. Halsey on the tackle.
They're being very aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. They are blitzing up the middle, and they're getting scot-free, and which is making these running backs turn back into the teeth of the defense. They're not able to right now get to the outside like they did in the first play they did in this drive.
Kentrell Webb, the strong safety, you saw him used to defense trying to make a play as Bernard looks to get to the outside. He delivers the blow too. Jamal Morris, the middle linebacker on the tackle. That was a big collision between Bernard and Morris.
They're steady trying to get to the outside on this play. Utah wants the effect, run stretch plays, block down, pull around, and let the running back pick a hole to get going north and south. Right now, Houston's defensive line is playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. They're pushing them back 2 and 3 yards, which is not allowing that cutback or even to keep it front side.
This is the 7th play of the drive for Utah. That's the longest drive of the game for either team so far. 3rd and 6. Wilson takes off up the middle, tries to get a block. He is stuck and drops short of the first down. That was Kentrell Webb, who you saw just a moment ago with the stick on Wilson.
It's almost like he had a man-to-man, but on that play, he read the play. Nobody came to his zone. He comes up, fills, stops the first down.
We are under the lights at TD ECU Stadium on a Texas Saturday night. Utah and Houston tied at 7 apiece, and the Utes go for it here on 4th down. 7 of 17 on 4th down this season. Wilson rolling, throwing, complete to Dorian Singer for a 1st down.
You know, that's one of the easiest and best plays in football. We usually run it to the right side. It's called sprint right option, but they run sprint left option. Just a little, you know, crossing route over there, and he's able to get the 1st down on the play. Simple play, get the ball out of your quarterback's hands, reliable throw on the out route.
Wilson from the gun, fakes it to Bernard, gets it to Money Parks. And a flag comes in at the end of the play.
There are some pads popping right now.
Money Parks slow getting up on that Utah sideline. Batten shoved him out of bounds on the play. Looks like he's holding his right arm.
Offense, number 5, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
5 is Micah Pittman. You need wide receivers to block on those quick screen plays. That time Pittman got called for a hold.
That's a hard block to have because, you know, the ball takes so long to get out to the receiver, and you're trying to hold the block as long as you can. And plus, at this point, you know, as a wide receiver, you really aren't accustomed to blocking, especially that long a period of time while that play develops.
Got Money Parks on the sideline checking on him. Wilson steps in, sets up the screen. He's got it to Bernard. Bernard down inside the 30. Hershey McLaurin and Michael Batten combined on the tackle.
Great play set up. We call that a slow screen to the running back. You let those defensive linemen get up the field. They're being so aggressive, get up the field and throw right in behind them. But you have to make sure that you have the proper timing with the offensive lineman to get those guys up the field, then to get down and make a block. You don't want to be down the field when the ball's in the air, because that's when you get the, you know, illegal man downfield call.
2nd and 3. This time it's Wilson keeping on the read. Brandon Mack and Latrell McCutcheon were there.
I am loving the physicality to which this game is being played right now. Pads are popping. You can see the excitement on both sides of the field, defense and offense. That offensive line really trying to dictate tempo and press the line of scrimmage.
This drive, Barrett, is almost 7 minutes old. 12th play of the drive coming up. Swing pass incomplete. Wilson trying to get it to Dadron Zipperer. Led him a little bit too far on the swing route.
And it was a great play call, too. The swing route was wide open on the play. It would have been a 1st down and maybe even more on that play. I know Wilson wish he has that back.
Isaac Wilson was 5 of 5 on the drive prior to that incompletion. So now the field goal unit on. Kick's going to come from the 36, so a 46-yard field goal try here for Cole Becker, who is 12 of 15 on the year, 5 of 7 in this range. Whistles before the kick, and we'll check the marker.
Prior to the play clock running out, charge timeout, Utah. 1st and a half. Be a 30-second timeout.
Play clock was about to expire. Kyle Whittingham, I don't think he liked the operation there.
No, but another thing when you look at this, Houston had 14 men in the huddle. Well, 13 men in the huddle. 2 of their guys had to run out because they had too many guys inside the huddle or on the line of scrimmage. So
if you go ahead and snap it, you get the illegal participation penalty.
Exactly. I would have went on and snapped it.
And that may be what Kyle Whittingham is asking the officials about.
Right. Too many people in their huddle. That should have been a penalty.
Although defense can run guys off the field, as long as they are off the field before the snap, they're okay.
Right.
Offense can't break the huddle.
Yeah, but they were still on the field.
Okay. So we'll try it again from 46 yards. Cole Becker. Just outside the upright. It's the exact same place as the first kick before the timeout. And so a scoring opportunity missed for the Utes. 4:15 left in this opening half. Kyle Becker had plenty of distance, just off the mark. With Kansas and Kansas State as well. And a big one tonight later on with Cincinnati and Colorado from Boulder. Zion Chris going to the air. And the first down play incomplete, intended for Mekhi Muse. Got one-on-one on the outside, decided to take a shot.
Yeah, I like that the officials are letting these guys play. You know, both guys are really using their hands and you know, trying to gain leverage. And you know, DB turned around and looked for the ball. He is just much right for the ball as the receiver does.
Smith Snowden in coverage there for the Utes. 7 apiece, 4:09 to play in the second quarter. That last drive for Utah, 13 plays, 7.5 minutes, and no points.
Unbelievable.
To the ground, this is Sneed. Sneed hops his way over a defender. Knocked off the 35 by Alakai Gilman.
Outside zone, just pick a play, one-step cut, get it going downhill, Sneed. He's a smooth runner also, you know. Very good speed, get to the corner, good vision.
Sneed, the junior from Arlington, played at Timberview High School. He's got one rushing touchdown this season. Play clock down to 5. Houston 1 of 5 on third down. They give it to Sneed. He's looking for a crease. And he's going to be close to the first down. Maybe have gotten enough with that spin move and the extra effort. It is a first down. Good pickup there for Stacy Sneed.
Just inside zone here. Tight end come around, sealed on the backside. And just pick a hole and go. Sometimes there's no hole, you got to make a hole. And Sneed got enough for the first down.
Looked like the pinball that got stuck up against the rail, but then
right.
somehow got into the bumper and shot back into the middle.
Exactly.
Clock running under 3 minutes. Late substitution for Utah. They're able to get guys off the field. All kinds of confusion for the Utes. This complete to the big tight end, Malik Carr. He is a load. 6'6", 265 pounds.
And a fleet of foot, too, also. You know, he almost like a dancing bear. We haven't called his name a lot, but, you know, he's somebody that can really influence the game from a passing standpoint just because, you know, at this point, the corners are playing very, very well, and they're playing very aggressive right now.
Carr on his third school, played at both Michigan State and Purdue. Originally from Inkster, Michigan. They got to hurry to get a playoff before the 2-minute timeout. And they will not. And Houston may be okay with that. Second down play coming up in a tie ball game between Utah and Houston. .3 seconds over 50 yards. Bed racing. Stacy Sneed with the run, going to bring up third down. Smith Snowden on the tackle for Utah. Just glad to have video to go with it. I envisioned like carrying a mattress with somebody on it, but no, they got the wheels.
Yeah. They got wheels on it, yeah.
On the hospital-style twin beds.
Well, of course, the track team's going to win. It's just like if it was a bobsledding team, the bobsled team would probably beat the track team. You know, that's kind of their style anyways.
Especially if it was Jamaican bobsled team. 3rd and 5. Carr in motion. Chris takes off, then he throws, he gets it to Carr, the big man, inside the 40, down to the 30. He absorbs some contact and finally is run out of bounds inside the 15-yard line.
There is a flag, though.
Way back at the 40-yard line.
Offense, number 72, 10-yard penalty, third down.
The big play erased because of holding.
You know, that's tough when you're an offensive lineman because you don't know where, you know, it's a double-edged sword when you have a quarterback that's a dual threat because you don't know where he is a lot of the time. So here he is, you know, he drops back. We're blocking for 1 point, and that point, once that point leaves, then you're like, all right, what should I do now? You know, because I don't know where he is. I don't know which way to block my guy. And at that point, it's hard for you to really get an idea on what you should be doing. I just know you shouldn't be holding, but, you know, still, it's just so tough because the guy's pulling away from you like, no. You know, so it's tough for an offensive lineman with a dual-threat quarterback. I played with Randall Cunningham. He was the start of dual-threat quarterbacks, and it was tough blocking for him because you didn't know where he would be. But, hey, sometimes you wouldn't block anybody, and he'd make a 50-yard run. So, you know, same thing can make you laugh, make you cry.
So now on 3rd and long, they put it on the ground. Gang tackle there and a timeout taken by Utah with 1:04 to play. Houston going to be forced to punt. Boy, that flag changed everything. Erased a 32-yard gain. With this timeout, we'll take it as well. 7-7, 1:04 punt time for Houston when we come back. Going to be spectacular. So many games where the stakes are so high in the last week of October.
Oh, my goodness. Even little things like Notre Dame winning today, beating Navy.
Beating Navy, knocking them from the ranks of the undefeated. You think there were some heart palpitations in Columbus, Ohio today at the Horseshoe?
Yes, for sure.
Oregon with a big win over Illinois. Georgia with the week off. Penn State threatening to extend that lead against Wisconsin. How about the 4-point win for Ohio State? How about Texas? 27-24, a 3-point win over Vanderbilt in Music City.
Squeaks it out.
I don't care how good or bad Florida State, Miami is. That's going to be a close one. That matters. You put the Canes and the Seminoles on the field together.
Always a classic.
Penn State just stuck it in the end zone to extend the lead in that one. Let's see what Utah wants to do. 7-7 game, less than a minute. Wilson trying to get rid of it. He's able to do so to avoid the sack. He had Anthony Holmes Jr., the nose tackle, trying to wrestle him to the ground.
Anthony Holmes did like 3 or 4 different moves to get past the guard and, influence that pass play. That's just will. That's just want to right there to make a play. You know, just kept rushing, could not be denied. So, you know, both defensive lines right now are playing at a high level.
If you like line of scrimmage play, you are in the right place tonight. Utah scored on its opening possession of the game, a 71-yard catch and run from Brant Keithy. This is Keithy on the catch again. Look at him catching and running again.
He is such a special target, you know, I mean, size, speed, quickness. You know, it gets out. Once you get the ball in his hands, that's when he starts to become electric. You know, tough guy, elite size for a tight end. As long as he's healthy, he's probably the #1 target for Wilson. You know, besides, you know, Money Parks, and we haven't heard anything from Money Parks and his availability right now.
Brant Keithy, 3 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown tonight. 21 on that reception. 17 came of it after the contact. Wilson, swing pass out of the backfield, incomplete. Let's go downstairs and check in with Tori Petru for an update. Tori.
Yeah, guys, little update on Money Parks. He came over to the sideline, went in the injury tent, and they took off his shoulder pads and jersey. And then he headed up into the locker room for quite some time, came back out. He's still in just kind of that undershirt, did not put his pads and jersey back on, but he's back on the sidelines. It doesn't look like he's going back in this one.
Thank you, Tori. Not what Utah fans wanted to hear, but appreciate the update. Isaac Wilson, time and then pressure comes, trying to throw a back shoulder route. That was a long throw that time to Luca Caldarella. Incompleted third down now for Utah.
And right now you see the growing pains of having a freshman quarterback back there. You know, I mean, I don't know if all your pass routes on the route tree can be thrown at this point when you have a young quarterback like that, especially with defenses that are being more aggressive and the ball needs to be out of his hands on time. It's really tough, you know, for an offensive coordinator to really call plays that are indicative of him being successful.
Utah 0 for 5 tonight on third down. 32% for the year. Wilson throws, and it's caught. That's Dorian Singer. Enough for the first down. Gain of about 16 on that pass play.
Yeah, Dorian Singer has to step it out. You know, out route, completes it. Good catch.
That was a long throw for Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
he threw it on a line. You get a little bit of a glimpse into the arm strength of the young quarterback. Wilson able to get rid of it. Incomplete. Pretty good blitz pickup there by Mekhi Bernard right up the middle.
Oh my goodness. I heard it way up here in the box. That's football. That's football. That's want to. Great pickup, great block by Mekhi Bernard. Met him right in the hole. Gave his quarterback an opportunity to push the ball down the field.
Isaac Wilson, 10 of 16, 156 yards in the first half tonight. 21 seconds. Here's 2nd and 10. Wilson dumps off a screen. That's Bernard trying to get north and south. He'll go across the 40, and Utah takes a timeout.
Another slow screen right there. And, you know, fans always want to say slow screens are screens to the running back, in which the offensive line allow the defensive line to get up the field, use their aggressiveness against them, get up the field, and dump it down to the running back between their blocks and the linebackers.
Cole Becker, the field goal kicker for Utah, is a transfer from Colorado. His career long came when playing for Colorado against Utah. He made a 56-yarder back in 2021. His season long, he is 48. Did that against Arizona State a couple of weeks ago. 0 for 1 tonight, missed from 46 yards, left it just out to the right. So where the ball sits right now at the 39-yard line, he would be right at the edge of that career long.
At this point, you know, points are at a premium.
Utah out of timeouts with 14 seconds remaining, so that limits a little bit what your options are. Wilson throws it complete to the outside. That's Micah Pittman on the reception. Important because he was able to get out of bounds. Clock stops with 10 seconds to go. It's a 4th down play here, and the field goal team will come on. Pretty good execution there by Utah if you were trying to get into a spot to kick a field goal.
A reasonable field goal. Just that little 4 or 5 yards could definitely influence this kick.
This is going to be a 52-yard field goal attempt for Cole Becker. But he's not going to get a chance to kick it because of the timeout. He gives it a ride anyway and made it.
Well, the first one he missed.
I was going to say, that happened on the first field goal.
And he missed it.
He kicked it and he missed it. And then he kicked it for real and missed it.
So maybe we'll see.
Perhaps a good omen.
Yeah, points are premium. You talk about two teams that are fighting, scratching, and clawing, you know, and And it just comes from this conference. The Big 12 conference is really, one of these conferences that you just never know.
You thought, Barrett, coming into this year, when you looked at the Big 12 and you looked at the teams that you felt like had a chance to be in the race, that this was going to be a season that was just going to be so much fun week to week.
And it has been, yes.
I don't know that everybody's where you thought they were going to be, but it has been fun. Here's the second try. This one is no good. Left it short. Becker had the line. He hit the draw that he wanted to hit, had it between the uprights, just not quite enough leg. And so with 5 seconds left until halftime, we are still tied at 7.
Maybe a foot and a half more, a yard and a half more.
Willie Fritz, seen that reaction a couple of times on missed field goals by Utah tonight. Houston coaches told us the key was going to be not to turn over the football. They played a clean first half, and we've got a 7-7 ball game. It is a Big 12 Saturday night in Utah. Won the toss to start the game. They deferred to the second half, so we'll see the Utes out on offense first. This one is a touchback. Utah will start at the 25. Let's check in with Tori.
Yeah, guys, when I talked with Coach Whittingham at halftime, he called it like we've all been seeing it in this first half so far. There's just not a lot of offense on either side of this game. He says he feels like they had that one explosive play to start the game and really nothing since then. He had good things to say about his defense, though. Then on the other sideline, Coach Fritz says we've got to put more than 3 or 4 good plays together on offense. He feels like they'll put together a few plays and then get a minus play. He says this Utah team is hard to get over the top of, so that's something that they want to do in this second half.
Thank you very much, Tori. Sounds like both coaches watched the same game we did in the first half.
Exactly.
Isaac Wilson on the bootleg, looking for something to open up downfield, and finally just throws it away. Good coverage by the Houston secondary.
Both defenses run, different schemes. This Houston Cougar defense, they love to run a zone concept, and it's a matchup zone. Somebody comes in your zone, they match up and lock up, and they've been pretty successful at that. You look at Utah and their defense, they go man-to-man a lot of time because they trust their cornerbacks and their safety to go man-to-man. Both styles are working for both sides. 7 points just goes to show how good both defenses are.
Wilson to the air, incomplete. That was behind Dorian Singer. Pressure in Wilson's face as he let it go.
Yeah, you look at Wilson showing a little composure, say, "Hey, I got it. I'm gonna get it together." They're just going through right now. We used to call it rookie growing pains in the NFL, but he's just a freshman. Although he spent the spring in Utah on the team, he's still, a freshman at heart.
Utah 1 of 7 on third down tonight. They got 3rd and 10 here. Isaac Wilson lets it fly. That ball is caught on the reception that time. It's number 4.
Big receiver also.
That was Manir McClain.
Showing a little length, going up and get it.
McClain has played very little this year.
I think that with, Money Parks not being available for that offense, somebody has to step up.
Muse back to receive this punt. Wobbly spiral, and he's going to let it hit, and it takes a Cougars bounce, goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Pretty good opening field position for Houston after forcing the 3-and-out. So when this season began, it was Donovan Smith as the starting quarterback. Zion Chris, though, has come in, started the last couple of ball games, 4 of 7 tonight with the touchdown pass, just 26 yards. Has made a few plays with his feet. There you get a look at Donovan Smith, the Texas Tech transfer. And it was simply a production decision. They felt like Zion Chris gave them a little bit of spark. Here's a spark. How about a run from Burnett? Burnett down to the 10, inside the 10. He's dragged down just short of the 5-yard line by Zamiah Vaughn.
Inside zone play. We talk about KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Just inside zone play on the play. Get a hat on the hat. He didn't even cut back. He stayed front side on the block, and he just one-step cut gets up the field.
A 55-yard run for Jamarian Burnett. First and goal for Utah, where for the year they are 4 of 14 when it comes to touchdowns. Chris on the keeper, trying to get to the outside. He's dropped at the 4.
They run a weak side power play to the open side, no tight end that side, but then they pull a backside guard up and just have Chris just try to pick a hole and get up through it on the play.
Rene Reed had the tackle there. He's a captain. There you get a look at Zion Chris, the sophomore from Baton Rouge in his 3rd year playing college football. He's got a big arm. Hasn't had a whole lot of time to throw it down the field tonight. On the ground, Sanford down inside the 2, maybe inside the 1.
No, they like this change of pace when they bring in Sanford. Smaller, 5'11", 200 pounds, as opposed to Burnett, 6'1", 220 pounds, going downhill.
Burnett comes back into the game. The 6'1", 220-pound freshman in the backfield. And they go full house in the backfield with Jaden York lined up as a fullback with his hand on the ground. They fake it. Chris throwing to the back corner, incomplete. That was in the neighborhood of Malik Carr, but that being loose with the size of the neighborhood.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on this point. Burnett. He's kind of got a little limp to him right now.
He jogs his way back into the huddle and will stay in the game. So a 4th down play coming here for Houston. They have been turned away in the red zone once tonight already. Can the Utah defense do it again? Tied for last in the FBS in terms of touchdown percentage. The handoff blown up in the backfield. Lander Barton, the junior from Cottonwood Heights, Utah, makes a play for the Utes.
Unblocked, backside, just going, 1-2 will. I just want to go out there and make a play. Great play from the outside. Goes up, hits the back, in the backfield, stops him on 4th down. Utes stop him again.
Inside the 2-yard line. The first time it was a fumbled snap and a stop short of the goal line. And then most recently, Lander Barton shot out of a cannon. Part of the reason he's on the Butkus watch list makes the stop. So Houston 0 for 2 in the red zone tonight.
That is absolutely amazing. 4 touchdowns and after 15 tries in the red zone. That's almost unbelievable.
Mekhi Bernard is the single back for Utah. They give it to Bernard. He rumbles his way out to about the 8-yard line. You saw Lander Barton sitting there on the sideline, made that play for Utah. Utah fans certainly know the Barton family story, but if you're not a Utah fan, it is hard to find a player whose family is more connected to a university athletically than the Barton family. Lander's dad, Paul, played baseball and football. His mother was a Hall of Famer, 2-time basketball All-American at Utah. His brother Cody was a linebacker for the Utes. His brother Jackson, well, he was an offensive lineman for the Utes. And his sister Danny, well, she's an All-American volleyball player, and they say probably the best athlete in the family.
When you look at families like that, the lineage that comes from places like that, you just want to keep them all there, you know. And it's funny when you think about it, especially the way things are going these days, that you could keep a family that's invested in Utah as their family is. That's crazy that they do that. Absolutely amazing. And that was one of the best plays I've seen this year as far as getting shot out of a cannon, going to make a play. Somebody need to step up. Who do they go to? Barton.
3rd down and 2. Utah trying to pick up a first down. Wilson low behind Bernard, incomplete. Intended for his back. And if you think about Isaac Wilson tonight, those are the passes that he seems to have struggled with a little bit more. The swing route, the quick screen, the running back out of the backfield.
And those are touch plays as opposed to just rifling and gunning the ball to the receiver. And that's, some quarterbacks are good at that. Some quarterbacks got to work at it. And it seems as he got to work on his touch as opposed to the strength of his arm.
Makai Muse back to receive this punt. He'll do so from the 38. Pretty good coverage that time by Utah. Dropped right at the 30. Beg your pardon, right at the 40-yard line.
Do they keep the ball on the ground? Keep the ball on the ground, run the ball, or they continue to go for shot plays? I think they should stay consistent. Keep the ball on the ground. I mean, they have gotten a lot of production out of Burton, a lot of production out of Snead.
131 of the 157 total yards for Houston in this game have come on the ground. Here's Zion Chris running it for a couple on first down before being dropped by Lander Barton.
and you look at, they're trying to make sure that they keep this defense attached to the run so they can go with the big play over the top.
Barton leading the way for Utah tonight with 5 tackles. Came into this game with 40 on the year, 23 in the last 3 games. Play action. Ball comes out of the hands of Chris. It's loose. Who's got it? Bodies flying all over the place. We'll see if Houston was able to recover. They do. It was actually Zion Chris somehow who was the one to recover the fumble.
Head coach, Coach Fritz, that was one of the big problems that he had with his team.
Sideline warning, Utah. This is their first and only warning of the game.
Turnover battle. They've got to win the turnover battle. They get this, but this could have been real bad for them. I tell you what, that oblong ball bounces in so many unpredictable ways.
Third down and 29, and they just put it on the ground. A field position flip, though. After starting this drive at the 40-yard line, Houston goes backwards significantly with the fumble. And so now it should be decent field position for Utah as Dorian Singer comes out to return this punt from Liam Doherty. Singer muffed it, dove forward for it, and was able to recover it himself. He never got off the ground. Just dove forward to cover it.
Sloppy.
Comedy of errors over the last couple of minutes. Kind of fell to the ground trying to haul it in. We're still tied at 7. Way to get a win on the road against Houston. Then there's an open date.
Yes.
And then up next for them, 2 weeks from today, they will face BYU, who currently is undefeated, team that struggled a season ago. And you get into a rivalry game, and you never know what might happen. That was a strike that was delivered by Brandon Rose, who is in at quarterback right now for Utah.
You got the ball to him. You got to make that catch.
Singer couldn't haul it in, so Brandon Rose comes into the game. Isaac Wilson started this game 8 of 9 throwing the football. Since then, just 5 of 13.
You know, Coach Whittingham looking for a spark. Try to get this team going in the right direction.
Brandon Rose played a couple of snaps earlier in the ball game after the Isaac Wilson injury, where he came down on that left wrist. Quick pass, and this one is off the hands of Micah Pittman.
You know, we spoke about it a little bit. This is the sloppy stuff that we've seen from the past 3 games. They're too good of a team and too well coached to go through things like this. You know what I mean? You've got to catch that ball. You've got to make a play. Too many missed opportunities, not just, you know, for the Utes, but also for the Cougars. Sloppy play is why these teams have been struggling thus far on the opposite side of the ball.
And you saw Kyle Whittingham to Micah Pittman say there, "Let's go." It may not have been a perfect pass, but it's one that hit him in the hands. So back-to-back drops for Utah. Now 3rd down. Brandon Rose trying to escape pressure, looking down the field. He throws it incomplete. What a play that time, as coming up and making the pass breakup was Kentrell Webb. He really closed well on that ball.
Kentrell Webb almost ran the route for him. Was able to undercut on this play. Ran it right there. Once you're trying to get the receiver's trying to get open for his quarterback, he then turns, makes a play. He was there before the receiver was even there to make a play.
He was trying to get it that time. One of those big tight ends. That was Landon King. 4th 3 and out of the game for Utah. Fair catch called for and made by Mekhi Muse. BYU stays undefeated after a road win today against UCF. They are now 8-0. Iowa State also undefeated. Got Kansas State lurking there with just 1 loss. Big one tonight in Boulder. Cincinnati and Colorado, both 5-2 overall, both 3-1 in the Big 12. TCU with a big win today to get their 3rd conference victory. And you see over there on the right side, Utah and Houston both sitting with just 1 win so far in Big 12 play. Our score is 7 apiece, 8 minutes to play. And on the ground, it's Charlie Vincent. First carry of the night for Charlie Vincent, makes the most of it, a 1st down run there.
And this is kind of what we thought we were going to get a little more from this offense on Houston. You know, they said they wanted to do just multiple backs. Give guys opportunities to go out there, and whoever had the hot hand, they would stay with the hot hand.
My apologies. That was 26 in red, not 26 in white. Rayshawn Sanford on that carry for a gain of 19. I forgot to flip my board over, my cheat sheet. I was looking at the wrong side. Sanford again. Works his way out to the 41-yard line for a gain of about 3.
Yeah, they run a stretch play. On stretch plays, you block down, pull around, trying to gain an advantage to the outside by trying to get the number count and get more blockers out there to block the defense. But it's hard to do that when the defensive line is playing 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They're getting up the field and really pushing things back into the meat of the defense, the teeth of the defense.
Sanford on the ground, and he is pulled down from behind by Alakai Gilman.
Yeah, you see both safeties playing around the line of scrimmage. You know, both Barton at the linebacker position coming a lot of the time on blitzes, and then you got both safeties playing around the line of scrimmage because there's no threat. There's no deep threat. There's no shot play that these guys to make them get back and really play coverage.
Houston averaging 3.5 yards per carry on the ground tonight. They've got 3rd down and 5. This one's intercepted off a deflection. Jonathan Hall. Hall to the 30. And he's knocked off his feet at about the 21-yard line. Ball came out, but it went out of bounds. So Utah comes up with the turnover, and you got tempers flaring all over the field. They get everything sorted out. That's the one thing that Houston felt like they could not have happened if they were going to win tonight, was turn the football over. That's their first turnover of the game.
Especially in this predicament right now where, you know, you look at the defense. He gets the ball out. I mean, that's got to be an easy pitch and catch for the offense. You know, Snead has been playing so well running the ball, even catching out of the backfield, but you cannot have costly mistakes like that. That's the only thing that, you know, Coach Fritz was talking about. Turnovers and making sure they play assignment correct football.
So it's still Brandon Rose in at quarterback for Utah. Mekhi Bernard in the game. This drive starts for the Utes at their own at the Houston 22. Rose to the air. Miscommunication. Nobody home. Let's go downstairs and check in with Tori. What can you tell us about the QB situation?
Yeah, guys, just eyes down here on the sideline. Isaac Wilson standing on the sideline watching his offense play right now. Really unclear why he's not in the game. He's got his wristband with all the play calls on it. He's holding that in his hand rather than wearing it right now. Very strange, not sure why he's not in this game, but he is watching from the sidelines.
Standing next to Kyle Whittingham back at about the 40-yard line. Brandon Rose, the quarterback. Mekhi Bernard in the backfield with him. And they dump it to Keithy. Grant Keithy wrestled down inside the 15-yard line by Michael Batten. First time in the red zone tonight for the Utah offense.
You know, it's no secret to me. You know, at this point, Coach Whittingham wants a spark. He needs to change. He needs to do something to try to get this offense going in the right direction. And, you know, Wilson was not accurate enough at this point to really keep him on the field and keep him consistent. They got to do something to get the ball rolling.
That's the first completion for Brandon Rose since coming into the ball game. Third down here for Utah. They're 1 of 10 on third down tonight. Make it 2 of 11 and a touchdown for Mekhi Bernard from 14 yards out, and Utah takes the lead.
Stemming off a turnover.
The Utes able to capitalize on the interception. Mekhi Bernard finds the end zone for the third time this year on a running play.
It looked like a zone read, but it was actually just inside run play, inside zone play. One step cut, get up the field. This comes from the injury. Zero-Win Williams.
Caleb Lomu runs out onto the field at the right guard spot, and now Utah will substitute. They took full advantage of the fact that you had to hold up for the substitution and force the delay of game, so the extra point will be 5 yards longer. Mekhi Bernard has been the biggest bright spot for this Utah offense this season. He's got 10 carries tonight for 45 yards and now a touchdown. Utah getting it into the end zone there from 14 yards out on just their second third down conversion of the game. Now Cole Becker with a little bit longer extra point. Splits the uprights, and that makes it 14-7. 5:01 to play in the third quarter. Mekhi Bernard gives the Utah offense a spark, a touchdown off the turnover, and the Utes are in front. 14-7, our new score.
He pulls around, kicks him out, and he just takes it. I can do that. Yep. All right. Yep. Yep.
Utah now in front 14-7 thanks to a 14-yard Mekhi Bernard touchdown run. Utah led this game 7-0. Scored on their opening offensive possession a 71-yard touchdown pass from Isaac Wilson to Brant Keithy. Houston tied it at 7 in the first half when Stephon Johnson reeled in a touchdown pass. And now it's 14-7.
And I love the play, how they play on this. Watch this. They open up and block outside. He goes inside and blocks. He goes inside and blocks. Center goes inside. It's a tackle trap. He comes around, boom, traps. But then you got to watch the running back. He then turns, boom, cuts it inside for a touchdown. Easy play. You call that all day and just run in behind him. A simple play. Always give the best results when you need something to go out there and happen right then and there.
Zeon Chris in the offense for Houston now looking to answer, and this one is blown up in the backfield. Jonah Lea'a'a, beg your pardon, Connor O'Toole on the tackle.
Those guys play so physical up front, you know, just getting up, and they play technique sound. They're rarely out of position from their rush lanes and their run responsibility gaps.
Back to Snead on the ground, cuts it back, finds a little bit of space before being wrapped up and driven into the turf. Big number 98. Dallas Vaca-Lahi leading the way on the tackle that time.
And his defensive line, like 2 or 3 deep also. They have a lot of confidence and bring a lot of guys that go through and rotate through that defensive line. But watch on this play. A lot of the DBs are playing so close to the line of scrimmage because this Houston team has had success running the ball.
And not respecting the ability to throw the ball down the field. 3rd and long. Houston 2 of 10 on 3rd down. This time through the air, way off the mark. Intended that time for Jonah Wilson, Cameron Calhoun in coverage. That's a 3 and out for the Houston offense on the heels of giving up the lead, giving up a lead in this game.
Rich, you think they're gonna? You think that Coach Fritz, head coach for the Cougars, you think they would entertain maybe putting Donovan Smith in to get them a spark going?
We'll see. And he turns this one over. Good point. Now Dorian Singer. Out across the 35. That's where the Utah offense will go to work. Willie Fritz, the head coach for the Houston Cougars, has had success everywhere he's been. And he has been a lot of places. High school coach, junior college coach at Blinn, Division II at Central Missouri. Then Sam Houston State, Georgia Southern, Tulane, and now here at the University of Houston, and he said this is a great job. One of the reasons that he loved it was that his daughters lived here, and so he's got grandkids here in the Houston area. He said, my wife would have killed me if we hadn't come this route.
Right.
You look at the total number of wins, 23-4 in his last 2 seasons at Tulane.
So much success.
But he talked about the fact that they've got stadium project going on right now. Already have the indoor facility. It's about $160 million football facility project that's going right now. 48,000 students at the University of Houston. How about that? Willie Fritz with the mohawk.
Look at that, Pittsburgh State, Kansas finest. Coach Willie Fritz. Look at him.
That is a look right there.
He's got the mohawk and the neck roll as a DB, and the neck roll.
2nd and 11. Trying to set up the screen. Bernard was trying to get away from the defensive lineman just to get free to catch it. Couldn't do so. And so a 3rd down coming up now for the Utah offense.
Yeah, the defensive line were able to, retrack and see the screen being set up.
The other thing that Willie Fritz said about this job, he said Houston, in his mind, is the epicenter of football. He wants to recruit the Houston area and the surrounding areas. He said, I have not gotten on a plane to recruit since I took this job, and I probably won't. Talked about building this roster in a different way than it was built previously. His pass is complete to Singer out near midfield. Dorian Singer hauls it in. That's good for a 1st down.
A little static on the sideline. We look at it, these simple completions are what Wilson wasn't able to do in the second half of this game.
Willie Fritz got bumped into there at the end there.
Yeah, and
he had Mekhi Bernard blocking downfield trying to help out Dorian Singer, and he ran into Willie Fritz.
Wait, Coach Fritz had a neck roll and a mohawk. He's about that work.
Here's Bernard again. Takes it from midfield down across the 45. A.J. Halsey on the tackle.
Coach Fritz a tough guy.
Inside 2 minutes in the 3rd quarter, Utah leading at 14-7, trying to pick up their 2nd win in Big 12 play this year, trying to snap a 3-game losing skid. Jalen Glover in at running back. The give is to Glover as he goes to the right. Picks his way across the 40-yard line, enough for the 1st down.
Just string them out. Just keep stringing that defense out. The beginning of the game all the way up until now, that defensive line was getting penetration, and that penetration would allow them to move and press the running back into the teeth of the defense. Now they're starting to get pressed a little bit.
Singer on the outside. Dorian Singer, well traveled in his college career, started out at Arizona, was there 21 and 22. He was 1st team All Pac-12 in 2022 with 66 receptions that season. Movement up front. That was the right guard that jumped. I think Moai going to be called for the false start unless
encroachment. That could be a possibility.
False start.
Nope.
Offense, number 62.
False start.
5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Solatoa Moai was the one that jumped early. He's playing that right guard spot right now. That was Michael Mokafisi's spot, injured last week. He had 33 career starts. Falcon Kalmatue got the start there tonight.
It's hard trying to replace that production, especially, the offensive line are so cohesive. They play together for so long that it's hard to really replace guys like that and think you get the same production.
Brandon Rose on a quarterback draw. Does not get back to the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Keith Cooper. That's going to do it for the third quarter here at TD-ECU Stadium on the campus of the University of Houston. Low-scoring game tonight. Utes in front as we first half tonight. Only 30 in this second half as Brandon Rose steps in on 3rd and 16. Just flips it underhand forward to Mekhi Bernard. That gets them back to about the original line of scrimmage. Michael Batten was there on the tackle in a strange spot on the field at about the 38-yard line, but punter Bomeister is going to come into the game.
Yeah, Coach Frisk kind of called, said he were going to run a screenplay. I kind of thought they were going to do it too. You know, use that aggressive nature of that defensive line, get them up the field, and throw it back underneath them.
He mentioned trying to figure out the tendencies of the new offensive coordinator, Mike Majekian, calling plays tonight. Fair catch made by Muse.
And, you know, that's kind of what we're talking about. You know, it's kind of tough when you do have a new signal caller, a new, play caller out there. Getting what he's comfortable with, you know, especially now with a new quarterback, he's probably going to call different plays for, him than he did for Wilson.
Brandon Rose came into this game in the third quarter, replacing Isaac Wilson. We got off to a good start tonight, but had some accuracy issues late second, early third. And so now this Houston offense with just 26 passing yards will go to the air on first down. That one is complete to Burnett for a gain out to 22-yard line.
You know, the Utes are being very, very aggressive right now, playing man-to-man. And, if you can just get past that initial jam, there's some big plays to be made playing against a defense like that.
10 of the 11 defenders for Utah at this play are within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's a run for first down. Van Fillinger on the tackle for Utah.
Some miscommunication going on with that play call on the defensive side of the ball. Also, if you watched, the motion play took 2 defenders with them. They just didn't take advantage of it because they ran the way of the 2 defenders. But if they'd have ran opposite of that, there might have been a big play that could have developed from that.
Morgan Scalley's defense has only given up 7 points on a total of 178 yards in this ball game. 145 of those on the ground tonight for the Cougars. This time it's Zion Chris on the keeper. He can really run. See a little frustration. His feet went out from under him as he was trying to make a cut at the 44-yard line.
This is what makes Chris so explosive. His ability to go out and run. And it's perfect running against a defense because when you're man-to-man, the DBs turn their back to you. And if you can get to the secondary, there's a lot of chunk yardage that you can get from that.
Looked like he was trying to cut off of Jonah Wilson's block.
Yeah.
And had his feet go out from under him, but a first down for the Cougars. Houston has missed 2 scoring opportunities from inside the 5-yard line tonight. They had a 4th and goal from the 1 with a fumbled snap and a 4th and goal from the 2 that Landon Barton absolutely blew up. 12-11 to play. It's Utah 14, Houston 7. Commodores 3 weeks removed from that win over then #1 Alabama. 1st and 10 for Houston. Short gain on the ground on first down there. Gilman with another tackle for Utah.
I love the fact this basic football right now. Who's going to win the war of attrition? Both defenses are playing a lot in this second half. A lot of mistakes have been made in this second half. Right now, you got to cut down on those. especially how close this game is.
Sanford, good cutback. Sanford with a tough run out across the 40 into Utah territory.
Wow. Cut on a dime. Look at that. Bam. Oh, 6 feet to the ground. Let's go.
15-yard gain there for Rayshawn Sanford. He's averaging a little over 7 yards per carry tonight.
His vision is immaculate right now. I mean, he's making cuts before the defender even gets to the place where they need to be.
Positive yards on first down again.
And I think he might get the lion's share of these carries because I think Burton right now is kind of hobbled a little bit. I mean, he may come in, but I mean, his knee, you could tell, has been bothering him a little bit. He's got it taped up right now.
Burnett, Snead, Sanford have been the 3 running backs that have gotten the majority of the carries tonight. In fact, those are the only 3 running backs that have gotten carries tonight for Utah. Along with Zion Chris from the quarterback spot. Chris swings it incomplete. That was through the hands of Devin Williams. I don't know if Williams was the intended receiver or if it was Manjack.
Well, I'm telling you this. Elijah Davis should have went for the pass play. He should have went for the interception.
He was trying to blow it up there.
Yeah, trying to blow the receiver up, but he should have just took the ball and just kept going. It might have been 6.
Elijah Davis has a couple of interceptions this year for the Utes. Muse in motion. Down to the 35 on third down. Only a gain of a couple.
Tough decision for Coach Fritz. Do you kick the field goal or do you continue to try to get production and try to score? Now,
Tavita Fotu on the tackle. He's the player that is still down. He's being helped up. That's a big man to have to pull up off the ground. You've also got 77 going off slowly. That's Simone Pepa. And we've got a timeout on the field with 9:28 to play. Utah leading 14-7 over Houston. After this game, Utah gets an open date.
Yeah, Coach Fritz being very, very aggressive on his play calling. He's going for it. Was it 4th and 6?
After the open date for Utah, it's the Holy War with BYU on the 9th of November. That one is at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. 4th down and 6 here for Houston. Sanford in the backfield. Houston 0 for 2 on 4th down tonight. Chris from the gun. Looking to throw. Now he's going to try and make it happen with his feet. Gets to the 35. Gets to the 30. And is out of bounds with enough for the first down. They mark him at the 28-yard line. Picked up the first down by about a yard, and that's what Zion Chris can do to help this offense.
Yeah, good decision. You know, they gave him a rush lane. They've been usually disciplined in their rush lanes on the defensive side of the ball for the Utes. But this time they didn't keep their lane discipline. And he was able to run up underneath the defensive end's pass rush and go for the first down.
Inside 9 minutes to play. 10th play of the drive for Houston. They've got it at the Utah 28. Chris, quick strike. That ball is complete to Manjack. Manjack to the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Houston. 28 yards on the slant for a score.
Great play selection.
3rd touchdown catch of the season for Joseph Manjack, the 4th. Willie Fritz told us that Manjack can create wow plays, and that was a wow play, running away from the defense after the catch. Houston an extra point away from tying this game at 14. Jack Martin for the extra point. And we are tied at 14. 8:29 to play. We got a ball game in Houston, Texas.
Great play, slant play. It causes a natural pitch. Then outside Manjack takes over, goes for the touchdown, just with the doctor order for this Houston offense.
Started out at USC, transferred back here to Houston.
Great size, 6'3", 205 pounds. Got decent speed.
No Money Parks in this second half for Utah. Had the injury in the first half, so this is Dijon Stanley. A returnable kick from the 2. Stanley runs into a red jersey. Let's go back to the touchdown for Houston where they tied it up.
Great play selection. If you watch, I love how they broke this down. Tight end goes up the field, creates a natural pick right here between the guy that has Manfield man-to-man. So on this play, he also goes up the field. But I watch Manjack. He tests it up, and natural pick goes around, goes for the score. Simple play selection, but it was just ran perfectly, and Manjack just showed speed to get to the outside and score on the touchdown.
They broke one tackle there in the open field. Zamiah Vaughn tried to go down and get him by the ankles, couldn't bring him down. So now it's Utah's turn. Brandon Rose hands off to Mekhi Bernard. Nothing there on first down.
See a little more
Morris leading the way.
See a little more pep in their steps. That little inspiration. Defense is playing at a higher level.
Utah loses a yard there on first down. 2nd and 11 coming up. Isaac Wilson replaced in this game by Brandon Rose, who had not thrown a pass prior to tonight's ball game. He's 4 of 10. Looking to throw here, taking a shot deep down the field. That ball hanging in the air. It's incomplete. A.J. Halsey trying to bring it in.
They're trying to go deep, trying to get this defense to loosen up just a little bit. There's so many guys around the line of scrimmage because both teams have been running the ball so much. But it was just great pass defense. The deepest man was able to go out there and make a play.
Lanier McLean was the intended receiver on that deep shot for Brandon Rose. So now 3rd down and 11. Utah 3 of 13 on 3rd down tonight. Rose delivers to Bernard. Can't get away from multiple red jerseys. A Johnny Carter, Jalen Garner there to wrap up Mekhi Bernard and force a punt from this Utah offense.
Which way do they go? At this point, I love the fact that Houston has found another gear. You know, they've come from a coach that had a mohawk and you know, neck roll. So you know he's intense, getting these guys going. He still is trying to establish his culture in that locker room. This is his first year. They're still learning him, and he's still learning them.
Booming punt. Muse calls for the fair catch. Boomeister hit a good one that time and flips the field. 54 yards with no return. Houston ball when we come back. Houston for the game. First down play here for the Cougars. Sanford trying to make something happen and picks up about 5 on first down.
He's
Calhoun
shifty.
and Snowden there for the tackle.
Very shifty player. You know, Rich, it's hard for those big defensive linemen to kind of see where he is because he's so small. It's kind of, you know, an opportunity for him to, you know, really make some big plays because you can't see him.
Sanford listed at 5'9", 185. This time it's Zeon Chris trying to find the seam, and there was nothing there. Martin and Fillinger both there on the tackle that time for Utah.
You know, I know why they're trying to, you know, QB run, because when you have the quarterback run, it gives you an extra blocker instead of handing it to the running back. That running back becomes another blocker. But they've got to move a little more, you know, maybe some misdirection to get that defense going one way and then cut back the other way, because right now they're playing too disciplined up front in their lanes.
Big third down for Houston here, 3rd and 5. And off is to Sanford, and he's going to be dropped short of the first down by Vakalahi. And the punt team will come out. It's a 3 and out for the Houston offense in a 14-14 game. We saw a great punt by Boumeister to flip the field just a moment ago.
How crucial is that?
4th 3 and out of the night for the Houston offense. Dorian Singer back to return this punt from Liam Doherty. Doherty hits a spiraling punt. That's fair catch called for and made. Starting this game, opening possession, Isaac Wilson gets it to Brant Keefe. Breaks a tackle, gets into the open field, and then the big tight end does the rest. Takes it 71 yards to the house. The other touchdown for Utah came on the ground. Mekhi Bernard with the rushing touchdown on a third down play and 3rd and 4, I think. 14-yard touchdown run. Those the two scores tonight for Utah. And now in a 14-14 game, the Utes get the ball with less than 5 minutes to play. To the air, that's a reception for the tight end, Carson Ryan. The junior from Orem, Utah, transfer from UCLA.
They used to be an integral part of their offense, the tight ends, you know, because all of them were good blockers, all of them were good pass catchers. And, you know, they use them in so many different ways, from the wing position, fullback position. I just haven't seen it this week with their play selection.
Ryan lost his shoe at the end of that, so he has to go out of the game. Utah with 12 personnel with 2 tight ends in the game with Keefe and Bentley. It's on the ground to Bernard. Spins off a tackle in the hole. The first man there was Jamal Morris. Spun off of Morris.
A little more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball by Houston. They send a cat blitz, a corner blitz. You know, it's not necessarily a passing blitz, it's a run blitz, knowing that they want to run the ball. So you slant that side that the cat blitz, the corner's coming off of, and try to close up the backside cutback lanes in the run play.
3rd down and less than a yard for Utah. They've just got to get the ball about the length of a football to pick up a first down. Rose under center. Quarterback sneak, and that's enough to move the chains, and the Utes get the first down.
Great surge up front between both guards and the center. Keep the chains moving. The clock's moving also. They got to be aware. 3 minutes left in the fourth.
Look at big Carlos Allen there in the middle of the defensive line. Disruptive at that defensive tackle spot. Rose going to keep it himself, going off the left side.
Rose keeps it again.
Gain of 3 on first down there for Brandon Rose.
I think Rose at this point, he's kind of moving his offense a little more consistently than I thought Wilson was in the early part of the second quarter.
Brandon Rose 6 of 12 through the air for 41 yards tonight. Quick pass, that's Keithy on the catch. He goes out across the 45. Boy, it takes a gang of players to try and bring him down. They never got him to the ground. Forward momentum took him to the 46-yard line. Will bring up 3rd down and 3. That takes us to the 2-minute timeout. 14-14. Utah trying to drive down and win it on the road for their second victory in Big 12 play.
Family at 3, 1
minutes to play. Utah and Houston in a Big 12 battle on this Saturday night in Houston, Texas. Brandon Rose has replaced Isaac Wilson as the quarterback. Two teams that like to control the clock. Utah, 5th in the country, averaging 34 minutes a game of time of possession. They slightly are behind Houston in that category. 3rd down, 4 of 15 on 3rd down tonight. Brandon Rose with time delivers. Intercepted! It's taken away by A.J. Halsey. Jumped the route. They were trying to get it to the tight end. And Halsey comes up with a huge play for the Cougars on 3rd down.
Unbelievable play. Able to go up underneath the plate, undercut it for the INT.
4th interception of the year for A.J. Halsey, the transfer from New Mexico, back in his hometown of HTX.
You got to come back for the ball as a receiver. Tight end, he should have came back for the ball. Safety playing back, you still got to come back for the ball on that play. You got to help the quarterback out a little bit.
Brandon Rose laid over the middle, trying to get it to Carson Ryan there. So now it's Houston's turn. Minute 55 to play, 2 timeouts remaining for the Cougars. From their own 46. Zion Chris keeps it. He gets to the outside, and he's got some room. Picked up nearly 10 yards. In fact, he's about a yard short of the first down.
Exceptional athlete.
Clock stopped when Chris went out of bounds. 2nd down and a yard. Rayshawn Sanford in the backfield. Alongside Zion Chris. Now a pistol. It's Sanford on the carry. Dives across the 45 down to the 44. Should be enough for the first down.
I'll tell you what. He has been playing. Sanford's been playing great in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Well, the 4th quarter. He's given his team every opportunity to take advantage of his speed and elusiveness in the run game.
And now he's lined up at the bottom of the formation as a receiver. Malik Carr in motion at the tight end. It's Zion Chris on the ground down close to the 35. They'll mark him at the 37.
Chris taking his game over right now.
Stop play for a moment as Bakalahi slow getting up and going off the field. Training staff out looking at him.
Rich, Houston's offensive line is starting to take control of the game. Move guys around a little bit.
Bakalahi being helped off the field tonight. Freshman from West Valley, Utah. Utah has all 3 of its timeouts remaining.
See the intensity in coach's face right now.
So because of the injured player inside 2 minutes, there is the option for the opposing team to take a 10-second runoff. Houston declined to do that. See Jack Martin getting ready if he is needed on the sideline. He is 3 for 4 on the year kicking field goals. His career high. He is 44. Came a couple of weeks ago against TCU. Down to the 35. That's a yard short of the first down. So 3rd down coming up. Clock is running. Now inside 1 minute. From here, it would be a 52-yard field goal. Houston not in a big hurry right now. Deion Chris scampers for the first down to the 30-yard line. You understood kind of taking your time on that play, but now they need to show some urgency. 34 seconds remaining.
And now you can turn it in.
And at 30 seconds to go, Utah takes its first of 3 timeouts.
So, I was trying to figure out at what point are their field goal kicker, is this field goal kicker ready to take an opportunity?
His season long is 34. That was against TCU. So Jack Martin, senior from Dothan, Alabama.
This is where you build it. You build your lore.
So
build your legacy.
The season long is 34. The career long is 44. From the 30-yard line, it would be about a 47-yard field goal. So certainly they want to try and pick up some more yardage to give Jack Martin an easier chance. Muse in motion. The handoff is to Sanford. And now another timeout taken by Utah. Landon Barton on the tackle.
Landon Barton is a machine. He is everywhere on the field.
Yeah, Landon Barton, big game tonight once again. He's now in double digits with 10 tackles in the ball game. That's 33 tackles for him in the last 4 games for Utah.
Phenomenal athlete. You look at it, we know the Utes right now are going to go man-to-man. They're going to bring pressure right up the middle, stop this running game. They're going to run blitzes. How do you counter that by Houston? How do they go out there and render that null and void?
That was actually Landon Barton's 11th tackle of the game. How about this? 10 of them are solo stops.
Unbelievable. Well, I can believe with him. I can believe with him.
2nd down and 9 from the 29. York, the tight end, in motion. The give is again to Sanford. And he goes down to the 32-yard line, and Utah takes its final timeout with 24 seconds remaining. No timeouts remaining for Kyle Whittingham's team as he coaches his 249th game as a head coach at Utah in his 20th season.
20 seasons in one place. You never hear about that anymore.
Second longest tenured head coach in the FBS. Trails only Mike Gundy, and it's by about 7 days. So a third down play coming up here. Houston would love for it not to come down to a field goal, but they've got the ball in the middle of the field. From here, the 27, it would be what, a 44-yard field goal, which would match the career long for Jack Martin. If they don't pick up the first down, you would expect Houston to run the clock down to 3 or 4 seconds and then take a timeout. They keep it on the ground. Sanford gets to the 25. And so it will bring up fourth down. We'll see where Willie Fritz elects to use the timeout. And then it's going to come down to the right leg of Jack Martin. He takes the timeout with 4 seconds remaining.
How do you build your allure? How do you build who you are as a player?
Jack Martin, the senior from Dothan, Alabama. He was at Troy in 2019 and 2020. Transferred to the University of Alabama, was there for the 21 and 22 seasons. 8 of 14 kicking field goals last year. This season, he is 3 of 4.
See, I can remember when I was playing, I never wanted to go up and talk to the kicker. Never. But I can remember my senior year, Martin Gramatica was my kicker.
Automatica. We'll see if Jack Martin is Automatica here.
Every time he kicked, he'd jump on my back.
6 foot, 200-pound senior from Dothan, Alabama, officially from 43 yards, one shy of his career long. From the right hash. 4 seconds to play. For the win. Martin splits the uprights, and Houston wins on homecoming, 17-14. Their second Big 12 win of the season. Jack Martin, the hero, on this Saturday night in Houston.
What a home